Hey, Virgil. Pull up me days, bro. Give me the Amato.
If you want it, then you'll have to take it. But you already knew that.
I had a feeling you'd say that.
How many times have we fought?
Hard to say. It's the only memory I've had since we were kids. It's time to finish this, Virgil. Once and for all.
It's no secret that games have evolved to a point today where the innovations in software have reached heights never before thought possible. Technology is arguably the most rapidly progressing industry of all time, and that shines through in one form of entertainment above all else: gaming. But it hasn't come without its shortcomings. With the natural human pursuit of perfection, the argument can be made that games nowadays aren't really games anymore in comparison to what they used to be. To some like myself, they can feel more like interactive movies or set pieces with no dynamic mechanics or gameplay elements to keep you entertained for more than one playthrough. Gaming to me is a timeless form of art. Every button press, every twist and turn, and every mechanic paints a picture. But sometimes, the picture that was very clear years ago may be akin to a kiss drawing nowadays. My name is Luxury Akari, and in this series, I'm going to tackle the games of yesterday and last generations and compare them to the game philosophy and ideas of today with the experience I have from both walks of life, and ask the question: does it hold up?
With that pole position, there would have never been a need for speed. Tecmo Bowl, Moon Patrol, Metroid, Asteroid, Double Dragon, Double Dribble, Double Whoop your ass, boy. Rampage, Blades of Steel, Cupid, even track and field. You can never match my skills. It's not your hate for the player or your hate for the game. You just hate the high score when it's next to my name. OG. Original gamer. OG. Original gamer. Bring your best game controller, bring some extra men. Bring a book of cheat codes, but I'm still gonna win. OG. Original gamer. OG. Original gamer.
Welcome, sir.
So, this is what they call a heartwarming family reunion, eh? You got that right. Father? I don't have a father. I just don't like you, that's all.
Or you can expect a spanking from Daddy later. Just as going to spank you, but spank you on the bar.
You showed up.
So he's a demon too.
Quite frankly, at first, I didn't give a damn. But because of you, I know what's important now. I know what I need to do. Ooh, I love a fast woman.
I thought I wasn't gonna cry.
No doubt, you've got some fun planned for me. Right, Virgil? Dante. The once sealed gate to the demonic world will open. Looks like this is gonna be one hell of a party!
One of them. Devil May Cry.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. You already know who it is. It's Luxury Akari. And today I have a very special treat for you guys. Those of you who enjoy my video essays, this one's going to be no different. This is going to be on Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition. As you guys have already tell by the fucking badass intro that I get hyped for watching it every time that I sit there and go through my video editor. But we already talked about God Hand. We haven't talked about Beautiful Joe yet. But Devil May Cry is one of the founding fathers to the modern day action game. But this is the one that's had the most influence on action games as a whole. So I want to talk about this one and how it's influenced the genre and how it's kind of pioneered things and become, I guess, a game in its own right to create something new that developers can take inspiration from, for years to come. And that game is this game, Devil May Cry 3. We're going to be talking about the special edition, and I'm going to be playing it on a Switch. I don't really know what else to say to you guys about this because I'm just excited to get into the video. But I played this game all through my childhood and adulthood, and like every time I picked it up, I've learned something new. So I wanted to share, another experience that I have through my years of gaming with you guys because I like all that old shit, and I appreciate the history of how far things have come in acknowledging where they've come from. And this probably is by far one of the biggest testaments to that notion. A game that creates a whole genre in of itself and categorizes it, much like Dark Souls has created like the Soulsborne type stuff. Like Devil May Cry 3, like I said, is the father of the modern action game, along with its two other, brother and sister games, Beautiful Joe and God Hand. So, I want to get right into it. This is the rambling section again. It's a bit off scripted, but we're gonna start off by talking about what Devil May Cry is, so we can get right on into it. Devil May Cry. What can I really say? Except that it's among one of the greatest and innovative game series of all time. As of now, there's 6 Devil May Cry games available to play, or 7 if you count the mobile game. There's Devil May Cry 1, 2, 3, 4, the reboot, the one we don't actually talk about.
Not in a million years. What the hell is this?
And 5, which went back to its roots, but that's for another time. The first two, however, which released on the PS2, laid the foundation for what it means to be an action game. The third one especially, which is what I'm going to get onto in the video in more detail, but first a little history. The games haven't always been balls to the wall, cracked out high adrenaline turbo time combo heavy gems you probably known the series for. The IP was originally created by Hideki Kamiya, whom you've heard of a million times in my channel, so I won't go into extreme detail, but he's behind games you may recognize that are also older like Beautiful Joe and Okami. Other than that, you know how they say perfection comes in trios? He's among, I guess I would call the founding action fathers of action games. The two others that I've also mentioned on my channel are Hideaki Itano and Shinji Mikami. And together the trio went on to grace humanity with the gaming industry's greatest gifts. Non-casual games actually have depth that appeal to the true demographic of hardcore gamers, or as you like to call them, sweats. That being said, I don't know if anyone else can relate to this statement, but growing up, I've always been a gamer, pretty much since I was born, and I played through many gaming generations that were even before my time. Like, I played Atari, the NES, SNES, N64, I mean, literally everything up until now, I played it all. That's why I have such a vast knowledge of gaming and gaming culture, which is why I do these videos. But I would have, like, experiences in elementary and middle school where I have, my friends where we all like the same things, but generally, I have a friend where we both like video games. I'd be like, hey man, you like video games? He was like, yeah, what kind of games do you like to play? I'd be like, man, I like to play like Devil May Cry, Super Smash Bros, Ratchet and Clank, Jack and Dexter, Sly Cooper. He's like, oh cool man, me too, dude. I love games like that. I like to play fighting games. So you like to play fighting games? I was like, yeah man, I love to play games like Tekken and Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom. And we generally be friends off of that. But like, I always felt like coming up, we were a minority in a sense, you know, like nerd culture is so mainstream nowadays that kind of everybody likes a good blend of I would say all kinds of games in general. Granted, there's still some outliers, but I feel like that's a true statement because the same people that will come to me nowadays and ask me if I've seen like hey man, you seen that new Devil May Cry 5 game? That shit looks fucking sick. Or like, dude, that Ratchet and Clank game on PS5 looks fucking awesome. These are probably some of the same people that will probably approach me in middle school and be like, man, y'all play some of those childish games, man. Like, I like to play games like Madden and FIFA and 2K, you know? Like, those type of people. Which isn't a bad thing. I feel like it's good that people are broadening their horizons, but it's just an observation I made. Bringing that into the point that Devil May Cry would be, you know, one of those games that people would kind of discount because they wouldn't really see the appeal of it. But nowadays, you look on YouTube, and these games are, you know, considered AAA by some people's standards. They have videos that have millions of views on them in the trailers, actual, like, badass fucking soundtracks and stuff that everybody enjoys. It's a different time. And it feels like I'm going a bit off topic, but that's just something I wanted to point out. And I feel like it's kind of prevalent in the history of Devil May Cry from where it was versus where it is now. Which was created by Hideki Kamiya, whom I mentioned before was the creator of gems like Beautiful Joe, Okami, Wonderful 101, and Bayonetta, and also went on to help found Platinum Studios, who is a successor of Clover Studios. It was then later picked up by Hideaki Itsuno, who has a background in fighting games and other projects like Power Stone, Street Fighter, and Rival Schools. The first Devil May Cry game was created from Resident Evil 1 assets to create some new IP for Capcom. It was originally supposed to play out more like an action RPG with a bit of horror undertones, and you can see it expressed in the general atmosphere of the first game. Devil May Cry 2, however, is when Itsuno picked the series up so Kamiya could go on to work on other projects. And DMC 2 was... I really don't even want to talk about it. It was fucking terrible. It was like, DMC2 was the son a dad would leave behind to go to the store to get milk. This joke might be a little bit too real, but it has a happy ending, because Devil May Cry 2 is kind of the catalyst as to why Devil May Cry 3 becomes so well received. And I say that because while DMC2 wasn't really that great of a game, it's kind of disowned by the Devil May Cry community as a whole. But nonetheless, it still introduced some concepts that you'll see more fleshed out in Devil May Cry 3, like gunslinging, wall running, and some other deeper action game mechanics that weren't quite there yet. So while not that great of a standalone game, and if you spent full price on it back in the day, I am sorry, but hey, if you look at it like a prototype, then it's all good. It's like a welcome sacrifice. That's really all the detail I'll give about the first two games, as they played a major role in helping Devil May Cry figure out its identity. Devil May Cry 3 was still all but a complete overhaul of game design and game philosophy to become the series that you know it as today. So now we can actually go on to the meat and potatoes.
This party's getting crazy. Let's rock.
Alright, gather around everybody. I'm about to tell y'all a wonderful story. It's time to pay respect to the big cheese, goddammit. As I stated before, Devil May Cry 1, it tried to be like an action RPG dash horror-esque type of game. Devil May Cry 2 was just kind of there. But Devil May Cry 3 is when the series went through puberty and found its identity. Through and through, Devil May Cry 3 is an action game. It still keeps, I wouldn't say the horror undertones, but like the theme of Devil May Cry, because you can't really just up and like change the story completely. But to circumvent this, instead of making it a sequel to Devil May Cry 1 and 2, they made it a prequel, just so they can kind of dig their nails deeper into the story and have more of an impact on where the lore begins, so it wouldn't seem so forced. You kind of see more of an origin story for Dante and his brother Virgil, who was a newer character introduced in Devil May Cry 3. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say newer, because you find out about Dante's brother in Devil May Cry 1, but you aren't actually revealed who exactly he is until the third game. But that being said, this is where the playing field was entirely changed, and Itsuno figured out, what exactly he wanted to do to the series, and, he took the bat, he swung for a home run. Essentially what he did was, he took the parts where Devil May Cry necessarily didn't know where it wanted to find its footing, and got rid of those parts, and then he hyper-focused on the parts that did work, which was mainly the combat. So he took that and refined upon it heavily. Him having a background in fighting games, he also understood the concept of combos, cancels, and things like that. So while Devil May Cry 1, it had combat, it also had a style meter, there wasn't really much depth to it, as it focused more on the exploration of going through the area where you're going through in Devil May Cry. It felt like a Metroidvania-esque type game. In Devil May Cry 2, it tried the combat, but it wasn't exactly fleshed out. That's what made Devil May Cry 3 the perfect sequel, because he just threw caution to the wind and said, fuck it, let's do this thing 100% and focus on this and do this one thing right, and the one thing we do right, we do it really, really well. And that's what makes this such a great game, because him doing that created a game that has infinite depth and infinite replayability. It's like a single-player fighting game, and the character you play as Dante, how in a fighting game you have multiple characters you can choose from in Mastery, they have their own distinct playstyles. Devil May Cry 3 has that in Dante and Virgil, but since these are the only two characters you play as, they're fleshed out to where Dante's moveset can equal that of like 4 or 5 different fighting game characters put together. So the things you can figure out with this character are endless, because he has 5 different guns he can switch from, and 5 different weapons, and 4 different styles you can alternate from, depending on your playstyle and how you play. I don't want to get super duper in depth with the gameplay, because I have a separate section for that, because it goes deep, and that's actually something I want to explain. But all in all, what makes this game great is the combat, and the story, and the presentation of it. And that's pretty much all I can say about Devil May Cry 3 in this section, and I'll explain, the other aspects of the game in the next section. The next section I actually want to talk about is the story for Devil May Cry, which is one of the reasons why I think it's so great, and another reason as to why it's so iconic, in the history of gaming, and how some of the themes it's presented in story has went on to live through generations and generations. Not saying that it came up with the themes that it presents first, but it definitely did them, more justice than, I guess, other forms of media that has the same themes. So. Alright, so in this section, I'm not just going to talk about the story of Devil May Cry 3, but dive into the narrative of the series as a whole, the genius of the Sparda brothers, and popular character tropes. Why? Because this is my soapbox, goddammit! And honestly, I just wish I could talk about Devil May Cry forever. It's just such a great game. And also because it just feels weird talking about 3 and not mentioning how everything else fits together so well. So, as Dante will put it, let's start the party! Alright, roll the clip.
You've heard of it, haven't you? The legend of Sparda? When I was young, my father would tell me stories about it. Long ago, in ancient times, a demon rebelled against his own kind for the sake of the human race. With his sword, he shut the portal to the demonic realm and sealed the evil entities off from our human world. But since he was a demon himself, his power was also trapped on the other side. I never believed it. I thought it was just a child's fairy tale. But I discovered that this so-called legend wasn't a myth at all. Sparda existed. How do I know? Well, I met the sons of Sparda. Both of them. Though the same blood of their father flowed through their veins, the two battled each other fiercely like arch-enemies.
Devil May Cry centers around the Sparda brothers, Dante and Virgil, who are half demon and half human, their mother being a priest and their father being one of the most powerful demons in hell. Immediately, you probably think of Inuyasha and Shishomaru, and the characters and themes they portray are similar, but the execution this time around is a bit different. Inuyasha has a lot of focus on adventure, and it's more straightforward when it comes to the forces of good and evil and whatnot. I mean, I haven't seen all of it, but these are based on me waking up early in the morning and watching it on Adult Swim before catching the bus to middle school. The complexity in Devil May Cry comes in the characters front and center though, and how both brothers choose to handle their heritage, which I guess, again, is similar to Inuyasha. But starting with Dante, he is a more straightforward, on-the-nose character who embraces his humanity and uses his demonic power to protect humanity and hunt demons who overstep their boundaries. He is like this because of the sacrifice his mother made to save him when he, Virgil, and his mom were attacked by demons as children. He came up realizing how important humans are. Albeit, he is still a bit selfish and immature in the third game, as he has not come to realize his purpose entirely until he meets Lady and relates to her trauma, which comes to life in the main villain of Devil May Cry 3, Arkham, who kills her mother to obtain more demonic power and partners with Virgil to open the gate to the demonic world, who is also her father. Before that, Dante was just coasting by without many cares in the world aside from having fun and hunting demons. I mean, he is the brother with the more carefree, outgoing personality of the two. There isn't much else to discuss about Dante, because him as a character, you come to know more who he is as you explore the game and go through it. I like to talk about Dante and Virgil when I talk about character design thesis and philosophy, because they are two perfect examples of a character who is fleshed out more as you experience the world with them, and a character who is fleshed out more from their past experiences. Think of character dynamics like Mugen and Jean, Naruto and Sasuke, and Rei and Asuka. One's depth is explored through narrative while the other through lore, which is why my description of Dante is short and straightforward, because you get what you get. Both Virgil is much more complex. Virgil is the opposite and the perfect foil for Dante, and the antithesis of his character. While one comes up to become selfless and a hero to humanity, the other comes up wanting to reject his humanity and embrace his demonic blood more in search of power. Influenced by the same trauma as a child, but instead of getting rescued by his mother, Virgil was left behind to fend for himself. Not on purpose, but the outcome was still the same regardless. This is where Virgil outshines Dante as a more complex character of the two brothers, as the emotions and feelings he cycles through are much more deeper and has a bigger impact on who he is and what he does. In his presentation, you see a character who comes off as pretentious, elegant, direct, cold, and very serious in his actions. He comes off as perfect in a sense, the opposite of Dante. But the genius of Virgil is that he hides his trauma. While on the surface you're just smacked with his enigmatic and royal demeanor, you would think him as some sort of a prince-like character. But deep down, he's a tragic character who feels more human emotion than Dante, but more so on the negative side. Virgil is a character that deals with envy, guilt, shame, wrath, ego, and grief, just to name a few. He is a prisoner of his trauma, while Dante set himself free of it. This trauma makes Virgil want to seek power above all else, harboring the mindset that without power you cannot protect that which you hold dear. He is struck with the grief of losing his mother, the anger and shame of not being strong enough to protect her, and also envious of Dante and looks down on him because in his head she put Dante first and abandoned him, and sees Dante as someone who is wasting his gift. All this motivates Virgil to do everything that he does, but the catch being that while he was willing to sacrifice his humanity for that power he wants could come at the cost of that which he holds dear most, which would make his quest meaningless in the end, which plays out more in Devil May Cry 5. Just playing Devil May Cry 3 and getting introduced to Virgil, you could almost see him as one-dimensional, but knowing who he really is makes moments like this so much more impactful for me, knowing that he just isn't evil twin brother who wants to do bad things.
Why do you refuse to gain power? The power of our father, Sparda.
Father? I don't have a father. I just don't like you, that's all.
Foolishness, Dante. Foolishness. Might controls everything, and without strength, you cannot protect anything, let alone yourself.
Finally have it.
Yes. Now the spell Sparda cast will be broken.
Now, going deeper into the story of Devil May Cry 3, the game centers around a Timmy Grew, a demon tower which is the catalyst in which Sparda sealed the gates to the demon world and human world to protect humanity. Virgil, along with Arkham, both seek to undo the seal for their own reasons which serve as the game's main story. Dante is made aware of his brother's plans prior to opening a portal of the demon world, and goes to confront his brother to fight him and hunt demons along the way. He meets Lady, who is in pursuit of the other accomplice, Arkham, who wants to take Sparda's steel power as well. Lady is one of my favorite female characters in gaming, because she isn't just written off as a damsel in distress. She actually totes around an entire arsenal of weaponry and straight up murks everything in her path just to get to Arkham. She is driven by vengeance and gives Dante the motivation he needs to actually give a shit about anything other than fighting Virgil, because they both relate to each other in past traumas and family issues. Like I mentioned before, it gets revealed later that Arkham is Lady's father and that he killed her mother to obtain demonic strength. Dante relates to that and then chooses to climb the tower for less selfish reasons, and more so to help Lady and stop Virgil for real. She of course rejects the help as she hates demons altogether, but then comes to realize that she can't really hang with a demonic dad and two of the most powerful demon brothers in the world. But the interactions between her and Dante do culminate in some of the most heartfelt moments in the game, and you really start to see the stakes rise as Dante starts to give sympathy to her.
Well, that was quick.
That man. Did you kill him?
So what if I did? Woo! Ooh, I love a fast woman.
Shut up! He was obsessed with becoming the devil. So much he killed his own wife. For that, he butchered innocent people, too. He's the most vile kind of creature. To top it off, that filthy scum is my father.
Well, we have something in common. I have a dysfunctional family, too.
And what would you know about family? You're a demon. This is my father. My family. This was all supposed to end by my hand.
Aren't you gonna shoot? Well, that's a switch.
Just go. I don't care anymore.
Family, huh?
I'm driven by the inability to forgive him. My soul is screaming, demanding me to kill him. That's enough motivation to keep me going. Besides, this is my family matter. You should stay out of it.
Okay, lady. I get the picture, but I can't just sit back and watch either. I'm pretty pissed at him too, you know. Now, get out of my way, or there'll be some consequences.
Fair enough. I wasn't planning on letting any demons live anyway. Not even one.
I'll take care of him.
Why do you care so much?
This whole business started with my father sealing the entrance between the two worlds. And now, my brother's trying to break that spell and turn everything into Demonville. This is my family matter, too. Quite frankly, at first, I didn't give a damn. But because of you, I know what's important now. I know what I need to do.
It's okay, lady. You'll get your vengeance soon. Don't worry.
Mary died a long time ago. My name is Lady. Goodbye, Father.
No!
wasn't gonna cry.
Eventually, towards the end of the game, Dante and Virgil end up teaming up to defeat the main boss. But I want to skip past that because that part is fairly trivial in comparison to the final confrontation between Virgil and Dante, and that's the main beat of the story in this game. In the end, Dante and Virgil have their most decisive battle, and it is moments like this where, after hearing about who Virgil really is, you see the emotion in his dialogue, which makes this the most heartbreaking scene in the series, when Virgil ultimately loses and decides to stay behind in hell. This is where you first see genuine sadness in Dante after losing his brother, and you'll notice how it comes to affect him throughout the entire series.
Give that to me.
No way. You got your own.
Well, I want yours too.
What are you gonna do with all that power, huh? No matter how hard you try, you're never gonna be like Father.
We're wasting time!
We are the sons of Sparda. Within each of us flows his blood. But more importantly, his soul! And now, my soul is saying it wants to stop you!
Unfortunately, our souls are at odds, brother. I need more power.
And we're supposed to be twins.
Twins. Right. Am I being defeated?
What's wrong? Is that all you got? Come on, get up. You can do better than that.
The portal to the human world is closing, Dante. Because the amulets have been separated.
Let's finish this, Virgil. I have to stop you. Even if that means killing you.
No one can have this, Dante. It's mine. It belongs to a son of Sparda. Leave me and go, if you don't want to be trapped in the demon world. I'm staying. This place was our father's home.
That's gonna be about where I close out the story. That's pretty much what happens in DMC3, and it all goes to play more of an effect in how you view the characters in the later entries in the series. I also didn't realize how long this video is. I kind of go off on a tangent whenever I'm talking about Devil May Cry, so I do apologize. But I'll make the gameplay section short. I won't even do a title card for it. But it does at its core innovate the action game. This is also going to be off scripted, but I'll go into depth with it. With the gameplay, it's similar to Devil May Cry 1 and 2 in the fact that you go and, I guess, slice things up, but it all changes with the inclusion of jump canceling, different weapons, different combos, and different ways you can execute and go about, you know, how you deal with the challenges in Devil May Cry 3. It allows for much more skill expression, and you can see that come into play with more Platinum games and Devil May Cry games down the line. As you can see in the gameplay you've already seen throughout the video, I guess that's kind of like, I don't know, maybe I did prepare for it. I don't have to explain the gameplay much because watching that video, you see it throughout the video. But, you know, as you can tell from the gameplay you've seen thus far, it's a lot more high-paced, and you can see how other games like Nier, Wonderful 101, later Devil May Cry games, just general Platinum games in general take inspiration from this. And when it comes to action games, this is the golden standard. This is the upper echelon of game mechanics and skill expression in action games to come in the future. So this is the game that many action games you see today that aren't Platinum games wish they could, you know, be half as good as. So in terms of if Devil May Cry 3 holds up, it definitely does. This game is absolutely timeless, and I definitely recommend you guys play it all the way through. It's the gameplay you're seeing on the screen right now is the Switch edition. Is, in my opinion, the definitive edition. A lot of the combos you see online, they play from the PC, which had style switching from mods, but a lot of the combos on there are modded. But I appreciate, I guess, the rawness of execution playing on an unmodded version. I like the feel it gives me, so I can't do like anything super duper extensive, especially with characters like Virgil where he does way too much fucking damage. But with Dante you can pull out some pretty cool shit even without the modded combos, because you still have jump cancels, you still have 5 different guns and melee weapons to switch in between, so it's definitely a treat of an experience, especially experiencing the story too from the beginning. I talked about the story a lot more in this video than I talked about the gameplay, and I realized that, but honestly that just goes to show how important this game is when it comes from a narrative standpoint as well. But all in all, this game is absolutely perfect to me. I would give it a 10 out of 10, but there's some enemy designs in this game that are just kind of bullshit. You know, they'll piss you off, but you know, that's just because some of the enemies in this game are very gimmicky in how they're applied to the gameplay formula. Some of them don't really fit when it comes to the combo heavy gameplay, but some of them really do fit. And there's also things you can do to circumvent that. Like you have Bloody Palace, which you go through 9,999 floors of just fucking face stomping carnage between all the enemies, and as you progress the difficulty goes up. There's also the room where boys turn to men on mission 6. You go to it on the harder difficulties and you get nothing but sloth, so it's nothing but like a fucking Dynasty Warriors type room where you just go combo heavy on everything in there, just go ham, and you don't actually get done with the room until you defeat the enemies that spawn the enemies, so you can just have an unlimited amount of fun in there. There's also rooms in this game where you can practice your combos as well, so it seems like they had a lot of these ideas implemented beforehand for people who want to dissect the game on that deeper level. But in conclusion, my final thoughts on Devil May Cry 3 is that yeah, I really do absolutely love this game. I'm extremely passionate about it. I think the playthrough I did of it most recently was the one where I had the most fun, because that's where I really gave a crack at, you know, breaking the game when it comes to the depths of combat, and I've learned a lot watching guide videos, YouTube videos, combo videos, and coming up with some stuff of my own too. It feels like a really rewarding game to play. You can pick this game up and put hundreds of thousands of hours into it and never get tired of it, because it's a game that you just pick up, play, and be badass at. And as you guys know, those are the type of games I love. And not to mention how much the story has impacted me. You know, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful form of, I guess, I don't know if you call it video game literature, or I don't know. It's just a beautiful piece of art. That's what this game is. You know, Devil May Cry will always have a place in my heart, and I'm really grateful to have been able to, I guess, put my soul in a video and explaining how much I love this game, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. I know it's a bit long, but if you've watched all the way through, then I really appreciate it. If you like my videos, make sure you subscribe. I like doing these video essays, as you guys know, and I also stream on Twitch at luxury_ikari, and you can find me on Instagram. All my stuff is in my channel descriptions usually. But other than that, I will see you guys later. Hope you enjoyed the video. Peace.
What an ordeal. You're still here.
I need that back.
No late charges, I hope?
I'll think about it.
We should be fine for now. But I'm sure they'll be back soon. Very soon.
Are you crying?
It's only the rain.
The rain already stopped.
Devils never cry.
I see. Maybe somewhere out there, even a devil may cry when he loses a loved one. Don't you think?
Maybe.
By the way... Looks like we're gonna be busy for a while.
Well, bring it on. I love this. This is what I live for! I'm absolutely crazy about it!